Seeds of Wisdom RV and Economic Updates Monday afternoon, the 11th of August 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Good afternoon. Dinar recaps: China and Russia hit trade milestone, defying U.S. tariff threats. Record high in July. According to the Chinese General Administration of Customs, bilateral trade between China and Russia reached $19.14 billion in July. The highest monthly figure this year, despite U.S. warnings of secondary tariffs on Russian oil sales. China remains one of the largest buyers of Russian crude. Yearly trends and oil dependency. July trade rose 8.7% compared to June. However, it was 2.8% lower than July 2024. Russian crude remains a major driver, with 108.5 million metric tons shipped to China in 2024, accounting for 19.6% of China's total crude imports. From January to June 2025, Russia delivered 49.11 million metric tons, down 10.9% from the same period last year. Geopolitical context. Despite ongoing sanctions and supply restrictions, trade volumes remain strong, suggesting Beijing is largely unfazed by Washington's recent threats to impose additional penalties on Russian oil transactions. Potential U.S.-China trade impact. The U.S. government has already applied a 25% tariff on Indian oil purchases. The current U.S.-China trade moratorium ends August 12, though Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has signaled a likely extension, saying trade is in a very good place with China. President Trump has claimed a trade deal with China is, sort of, in place, but further tariff measures could disrupt finalization. Strategic calculations. China's continued imports may indicate confidence in an eventual resolution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, or a calculated bet that the U.S. will not escalate tariff enforcement against Chinese oil imports. BRICS shakeup. India chooses U.S. over Russia in sudden shift. Tariff threat forces overnight U-turn. In a stunning policy reversal, India has abandoned its $50.2 billion annual Russian oil partnership within just 24 hours after facing crippling tariff threats from Washington. President Trump's 25% tariff on Indian goods, with potential hikes to 100%, targeted New Delhi's purchases of Russian crude and military equipment, forcing a choice between Russia and India's most important trade partner, the United States. Why India chose Washington. U.S. equals India's largest trade partner, worth $186 billion in 2024-2025. Accounts for 18% of India's exports, with a $41 billion trade surplus at stake. Risk to key service sector revenues outweighed energy ties with Russia. Impact on Russian energy exports. Before the ultimatum, India imported 87.4 million tons of Russian oil annually, about 35% of its total crude imports. State-owned refiners controlling 60% of India's 5.2 mbpd capacity immediately stopped Russian purchases. Supplies replaced with Middle Eastern, Abu Dhabi, and West African crude. Russia, already hit by Europe's embargo, loses its largest oil customer, forcing steep discounts to move stockpiles. BRICS alliance reality check. India's defection delivers a strategic blow to Moscow and exposes limits of BRICS unity. The move came hours after ex-Russian President Dmitry Medvedev dismissed U.S. tariff threats. Russia now faces a wartime economy with a budget deficit projected to exceed $100 billion by year's end. Geopolitical significance. This reversal highlights a core weakness in anti-Western alliances. Economic leverage from the U.S. and its allies remains powerful enough to override years of alternative trade bloc building. Despite BRICS ambitions, Washington's economic dominance is still decisive in shaping global trade alignments. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com